You're not an alien. You're not human. I guess we've got a lot of catching up to do.
First and foremost, a longtime fan, so excited to get to chat with you. But also, I just love Resident Alien, and I love getting to talk with the people behind it. Now, I am so bummed, though, as a fan of this show, that we are saying goodbye to it in the near future. How does it feel for you, even though you've been a recurring player compared to maybe Alan and everybody else? How does it feel for you to say goodbye to this world?
Well, excuse me. I sort of said goodbye every time I got wrapped and went back home, you know. And then if I saw that I got to come, I knew my story wasn't resolved, and, you know, every time I came and went, so I looked forward to coming back again. But this time felt like it was over before I even heard the final word from Chris Sheridan, who sent me a letter. And that was I kind of knew I was saying goodbye to everybody, and when I shot the last episode that I shot, I was actually quite sick. I had a really bad cold, and I don't know what it was. You know, who knows what's going around these days? But so I didn't even get to go to the last dinner and hang out with folks, which I really wish I had. But I said I better not. I don't want to get anybody sick. So I'm just happy to be, in retrospect, happy that I was able to be there and be involved in something like this, even as limited part as it was. It was really fun.
I can only imagine, especially coming into both the end of last season and this season, in which Peter has undergone this massive robotic transformation. And I mean, the amount of practical effects that were used for that really amazed me. But I'd love to hear from you what it was like working with the costume team and everything to fill in that mechanical suit.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't like I had to be in a makeup chair for hours or anything. It was just a few pieces, and they were very attentive. Everybody was very helpful, and so hopefully the effect was accomplished what they wanted to get accomplished, and it wasn't. So outside of some sort of funky boots and gloves and awkward stuff, it was fairly simple, really. I didn't have much pre-work, much more than anybody else in the show, really.
Well, that's good, at least, because I mean, I can only imagine how complicated that suit could have been.
God, I think when they were gonna try to do everything sort of without effects. And the first time we shot it, like when Peter just says, when he realizes that he's who he is, and that his son is missing, and there's all that shooting up out at Harry's cabin, and he jumps over his cars and stuff like that. Well, we first started just with me basically wearing a little bit more of the cyborg gear and shooting, and then just running off, between the cars, and I was like, I'm not terribly fast anymore. Also, it was in the dark, and I think I tripped over one of the guys who was on the other side, and landed flat on my face, full out, and everybody came over like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I think they decided then, we're going to have to use some effects. This isn't going to work. Terry's not a rocket ship, so yeah, it was all right.
I don't need you getting hurt.
No.
Now, you mentioned your son, by the way, and finding Robert, reuniting with Robert, obviously is a big part of Peter's arc, and it was so great that we got to see that finally happen in episode 9. I'd love to hear, again, even though you've just mentioned having said goodbye to that character in every prior season, what was sort of going through your mind getting to have that emotional reunion finally, in which you get to sort of walk off into the sunset, so to speak, with Robert?
It was, I hardly, having not ever known Robert or the actor, it was kind of like, well, okay, behave this way. And it was like, put all that weight into this thing. Shooting that scene, with the fire and stuff like that was, it was fairly technical shooting of a scene. And it was just like, okay, now this is your son. Show us what that looks like. And okay, fortunately, you get a certain age. I know in men, I don't know about in women, you get a certain age, and it's easy to be emotional. I mean, old guys cry at everything. I cry at commercials when the dog comes home or when, something. But so that was not that difficult, but it was 100% play acting. And it was funny because I came into that scene, and the egg sack was there, and and I had the fire, and of course I went shh when I first started. The first time I did it, I think Chris or Robbie said, "Yeah, Jeremy, we'll make the sounds. You don't have to go shh." And I was thinking of that thing, and what was that thing with Jack Black? And, yeah, over shh, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I only did that once, so yeah. I'm looking for. I haven't seen that episode, which has been aired, and so I'm looking forward to seeing it. We're watching everything a little bit behind here in Santa Fe because stuff going on, but that was cool. I thought it went all right. I don't know. I'll look and see, and probably kind of go like, oh, should have done. I could have done that better. We'll find out.
No, I think you really nailed the emotion of the scene, as well as I loved seeing the flamethrower thing. I can only imagine the surreal nature of production going into a scene like that, where you're like, okay, I have to imagine the flame is coming out of my hand, and therefore for you yourself, you do that sound effect.
Yeah, really, that was pretty funny. Well, yeah, I'm glad I still have that in me. The same kid who was running around the front yard up in Newberry, Michigan, going, "Take your dads."
Got to still have that fun imagination in there somewhere for this job, and you're keeping it rolling. So I love that. Now, as we're saying goodbye to this show, I'm curious. This is a character who feels like he could have gone in so many different directions before we are here, but also still could go in different directions in the future. What is something that you would have loved to have seen Peter get involved with in either prior seasons or the future if it had continued?
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess I would have if we had time to extend everything, and I would have worked more with Deputy Liv, because Liz was so much fun to work with, and done more with her and with the sheriff. But I mean, I loved everybody on the show, so you get involved with those two. They were sort of a separate entity from the mayor and his wife, kind of separate from Harry and Asta, but. Yeah, so I mean, the scene, I got to do a few scenes with Alan Tudyk, and I just think he's brilliant. I mean, he does this so well, and so I would have done more, gotten more involved, but there was only so much time in the show. He had a lot of stuff going, and I just thought it was. I'd have been a fan of this show, even if I hadn't been involved. If I had heard of it and watched it, I don't know. I mean, apparently not enough people watched it. I don't know. Is that the deal? Is that what happened?
I've heard various things on why it's coming to an end, but while I would have loved to have seen it continue, I do at least love that Chris is bringing it to as natural an end as it can be. I still have to see the finale, so we'll see. But we will see.
He said he saw the writing was on the wall, according to Chris. So he said he managed to bring it to an end. So I'm happy about that. I've been in a couple of things that just like all of a sudden, Patriot. I don't know. No. Mm-hmm. No, well, Patriot also, it sort of came to an end. But did you see Perpetual Grace Limited?
I saw a couple episodes, and then I got so busy with other things that I couldn't come back to it. But I heard it continued to be great afterwards.
It was pretty cool, and that was something that just was like, oh, okay, no more episodes. Okay, why? And I just don't think it had enough visibility. I think that's kind of why. I think like Patriot, I think there was some politics involved in the head of whoever it was. Whoever was airing that, Amazon or somebody. Yeah, so it's like when a pride of lions, when the new male comes in, he kills all the babies. So that's kind of sort of like that.
TV is a very brutal landscape these days, but I'm glad that Resident Alien at least seems to have a passionate fan base behind it, like myself. So I'm glad that it has found some sort of audience.
I'm glad it has a some. What are they called?
I don't know. We're still figuring out a name. We're still figuring it out. There's so many different ways you could go with it. The Vanderspiegelins, the Patiences. I don't know. There's so many. I see I have time for one more question. So before I let you go, talking about TV's wider landscape, I was a big fan of Lost, and one thing that I feel has really filled the void of late has been From with Harold Perrineau. And I feel like having another interesting mystery box has just been such a great thing to follow. I'm curious if he or anybody on that team has talked to you about possibly joining that world, or if you would be interested if they did.
Well, I'm interested in anybody calling me and asking me if I'd be interested in joining a world, but I don't even know that show. I haven't seen it and don't know anything about it. So that's something I have to look into. I have, quite honestly, one of my fantasies would be all the people from Lost come out of the back of the church where the light was, where they walked out, and now they're all this old. And so got to go like, what happened? What happened? What do we do now? I think that'd be kind of amazing.
That would be a really interesting way to bring that show back and give us a new chapter to follow. But yeah, you're gonna have to check out From. It's so good. It's a great little horror show. Perrineau's trapped in a town, and him and the other residents have to find a way out from all these creatures. It's a really good ride. That
sounds fun. I love Harold. He was fun to work with.
I would love to see you reunite with him on that show. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep the word alive about Resident Alien going into the finale because, like I said, I've loved this show since the start, and it's bittersweet to see it coming to an end, but I want people to at least be there for it. So, Terry, such an honor getting to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time.
Really nice talking to you. Thank you.
Maybe that's how other kidnapped boys behave, but not my son.
Sorry, Dad.